Flip over a wine bottle. Go on, I'll wait. See that deep dent pushing up into the bottom? It has a name, the punt, and it's one of the most argued about pieces of glass on Earth. Ask a sommelier why it's there, and you'll get one answer. Ask a glassmaker, a different answer. Ask the internet, and you'll be told it's a scam to sell you less wine. Here's the fun part: almost everyone is a little bit right and mostly wrong. The punt is a 2,000-year-old fossil, a leftover from how bottles used to be born that survived because it accidentally turned out to be useful in about 6 different ways. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to win the argument at any dinner party. Let's dig in. Literally, to understand the punt, you have to watch a bottle being born the old way. And glass blowing is basically the same trick humans have been doing for 2,000 years. A glass blower gathers a glob of molten glass. It's called a gather, glowing orange like lava honey, on the end of a blowpipe and puffs it into a bubble. They shape it, swing it, roll it. But here's the problem: the bubble is attached to the pipe at the top where the bottle's mouth will be. To finish that mouth, they need to hold the bottle from the other end. Enter a tool called the punty, a solid iron rod tipped with a blob of hot glass stuck onto the bottle's base like a temporary handle. Crack the bottle off the blowpipe, finish the lip, then snap the punty off the bottom. And when you snap it off, it leaves a scar, a rough, sharp, jagged little ring of broken glass right on the base. Now imagine setting that bottle down on your nice wooden table. Scratch City. Worse, a sharp stress point on the exact surface the bottle stands on. So glass blowers learned to push that scar up, denting the base inward, so the scar floated above the table and the bottle stood on a smooth ring of glass instead. That's it. That's the original punt. Not physics, not pressure, a pushed in belly button, which is honestly the perfect comparison because a belly button is also a scar from how you were made. Here's the twist: bottles haven't been hand blown at scale for over a century. Modern bottles are machine molded with flawless bases. The scar problem is gone. The punt should have gone extinct around the same time as the horse drawn carriage, but it didn't. It survived. Why? Because evolution doesn't only keep things that are necessary, it keeps things that are useful. And the punt, by sheer accident, turned out to be a Swiss Army knife. Reason one: strength. An arch is one of the strongest shapes in engineering. It's why bridges and cathedral domes work. A domed base is dramatically better at handling pressure than a flat one. Which brings us to the bottle where the punt genuinely earns its keep: champagne. Inside that bottle is carbon dioxide pushing at 5 to 6 atmospheres, comfortably more than the pressure in a car tire. Early champagne makers lost a terrifying fraction of their bottles to spontaneous explosion. Cellar workers in the 1800s genuinely wore iron face masks to work because bottles would detonate on the racks and set off their neighbors like dominoes. A deep punt turns the bottle's base into a pressure dome and helps it hold the chaos in. For sparkling wine, the punt isn't decoration, it's armor. Reason two: the pour. That dent is a perfect thumb hold. Sommeliers pour with the thumb in the punt and fingers splayed along the barrel. It looks fancy, it's more stable, and it keeps warm hands off cold wine. The punt is the original ergonomic grip, invented centuries before the word ergonomic. Reason three: sediment. Old wines throw sediment, harmless but gritty tannin and pigment particles. As the bottle stands, sediment slides down and settles in the narrow trench around the punt. Instead of in a loose cloud across a flat bottom, When you pour, it's likelier to stay put rather than billowing up like a shaken snow globe. Reason 4, stacking. For centuries, bottles were aged neck to base in racks and piles. The punt of one bottle cups the neck of the next. The dent is a built in Lego stud for wine cellars. Reason 5, and this one's slightly silly, cleaning. In the era of reused bottles, the punt let high pressure rinsing jets blast up into the bottle and ricochet around the inside more effectively. So, a 2,000-year-old manufacturing scar got retroactively hired for 5 new jobs. The punt didn't survive because it had to. It survived because it kept volunteering. Okay, the part everyone actually wants to know, is the punt there to cheat you out of wine? Short answer, no. The bottle still has to contain its labeled 750 milliliters, punt or not. That's regulated. You're getting your wine. Long answer, but the punt absolutely is used to manipulate you, just not the way you think. A deep punt plus thicker glass makes a bottle taller, heavier, and more imposing, while holding exactly the same wine. And studies of consumer behavior keep finding the same embarrassing result. People judge wine quality by bottle weight. Heavier bottle, better wine. Higher price we're willing to pay. Marketers know this. So premium looking bottles get deep punts and chunky glass like a nightclub bouncer gets a tight shirt. There's a real correlation between punt depth and price, but it's not because the punt improves the wine. It's because expensive wine is costumed in dramatic glass. The punt isn't stealing your wine, it's flattering your expectations, which leads to the dinner party power move. A deep punt tells you the producer spent more on the bottle. Whether they spent more on the wine is a separate question entirely. And the eco twist, that glass swagger has a cost. Heavy bottles mean more glass to melt and more weight to ship. So, some serious producers are now deliberately going lightweight and shallow punted. In a funny reversal, a featherweight bottle is becoming the new flex. So, here's your field guide: sparkling wine with a deep punt, functional armor, old school red built for aging with a moderate punt, sediment management, and tradition. Cheap and cheerful wine with a flat bottom, nothing wrong with it. The maker just didn't pay for theater. Everyday wine wearing a dramatically deep punt. That's marketing. And now you can smile knowingly at it. The punt is a scar that became a feature, and a feature that became a costume. There may be no other object where manufacturing history, physics, ergonomics, and psychology all hide in one thumb sized dent. 2,000 years ago, a glassblower pushed a scar out of the way, and we never stopped copying the gesture. Most of the design around us is like this, not invented, but habits with excellent excuses. So tonight, when someone fills your glass, flip the bottle afterward and run your thumb into that dent. You're touching the ghost of an iron rod from a Roman workshop, the memory of exploding champagne cellars, and a small, ongoing psychological experiment about how easily we're impressed by heavy things. Not bad for a dent. Next up, why is a manhole cover round? Sounds dull. It's actually a legendary job interview question with a genuinely beautiful answer. Subscribe so you don't miss it.